واستعينه واستهديه واستغفره وأؤمن به جل وعلا ولا أكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, fa'inna astikal hadith kitabullah wa awtaka al-ura kalimatu taqwa wa khayrul milali milatu Ibrahim wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah wa asanu al-kasasi hadha al-Qur'an wa khayrul umuri awazzimuha wa shayrul umuri muqtatatuha wa asanu al-hadyu hadyu al-anbiya wa ashraful maut katlu shuhada wa amma alama dalalatul ba'da al-huda wa khayrul amali ma nafa'a wa khayrul hadi ma uzba'a wa shayrul amma al-kal. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Qur'an. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best acts are the ones that yield benefits. The best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmadu bil-adli wal-ihsani wa ita'i dhil-qurba wa yanha anil-fashai wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idhukum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin. He instructs you, or He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom in Allah's plan willeth to guide, He opens their breast to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُونَ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nasi ta'muruna bil ma'rufi wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. Aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلوات من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله واذكروا البعير ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت للصلوات فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. O you believe, when the call is proclaimed to prayer on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of Allah and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when the prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of Allah and remember Allah frequently that you may prosper. Then there's the last ayat. But when they see some bargain or some pastime, they disperse headlong to it and leave thee standing. Say, that which is with Allah is better than any pastime or bargain, and Allah is the best to provide all needs. This last ayat, of course, is the fiqh of Jum'ah. Hasten earnestly to the remembrance of Allah, leave off business and traffic. That's best for you if you but knew. So Friday is the day of Jum'ah. It is the day of Jum'ah, congregation, the day of gathering, the day of coming together. And you leave off business and traffic. That's in the first part of the morning. After you finish your Jum'ah, you can take care of regular business. You can pop up something outside, a stall, or anything you want, because you fulfilled your obligation of going to prayer. Then you can seek the bounty of Allah with haste, without any psychological or spiritual stability, because you have fulfilled your obligation. Now, but when they see some bargain or some pastime, they disperse headlong to it and leave thee standing. Now, this last part of this surah was because of a special incident. It was an incident where there had been drought and dismay in the Muslim community. And so, right during the Salatul Jum'ah, a caravan arrived from Syria, loaded with everything. You could hear the stuff jangling on the side. So the people, not paying attention, right in the middle of Jum'ah, they looked out and saw the caravan arrive, and they jumped up and ran straight to the caravan. Of course, the Prophet ﷺ kept on giving the khutbah, but then Allah revealed, and we should understand there's commentary going on behind the incidences of Quran. There's always some scenes going on behind the revelation of Quran. This is why the study of tafsir is so important, because it is not the Quran itself, but it is the research of scholars who have researched the background. Why, when, and under what circumstances was these ayats revealed? So this is exactly, and we'll read it again. But when they see some bargain or some pastime, they disperse headlong to it. Now remember, when the caravan comes, they're going to be jangling and dancing, and it's going to be a party. Not only goods and services, but they might have a whole crew of singers, all kind of stuff they getting ready to throw down. But they leave thee standing. But Allah says that which Allah has is better. The risk of Allah is better than what the caravan has. And this is a long thing to learn. And any pastime a bargain. And Allah is best to provide all needs. So this is letting us know business traffic is inferior. And Islam, the call to prayer, the guidelines of Islam are superior. Today we'll deal with something we've dealt with many times. It's a repeat khutbah, but it's very significant at this time. When we look at the news and when we look at the historical process that's taking place right in front of our face, when we understand the Quran, we can look at the news and understand. Forget about what they're saying, but we can take the whole world's process that's going on and we can integrate it into decisions that we make that will make our life fit in with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for us. Hence, leave me alone with such as give the lie to this title. We shall bring them low step by step without their perceiving how it has come about. For behold, though I may give them rain for a while, my subtle scheme is exceedingly firm. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving us guidance, and of course the guidance of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give to us. Hence, so it's a statement. Leave me alone with such as give lie to this Quran. Those people that don't believe this, don't worry about it. Leave them to me. This is what Allah is saying. We shall bring them low. Now this is talking about a great society, automatically. A historical process that is in sync with Allah's creation. That has happened historical period, time after time. The process is sealed in the nature of the world. So whoever it is, we shall bring them low, step by step, without their perceiving how it has come about. When you look at world politics, when you look at Big Sam, the United States government, you see him acting as though he's living in 1975, in the last quarter of the 20th century. Things that the system does, the way they make statements about people in the world and what we want you to do, they're speaking like when they was the big man in town. They think they're talking about when America, well, they're talking about post-World War II, when they done won 2 wars in a row and they big time. They're not talking about Korea, where the Korean War still is on paper right now. That war is not over. Pinmanjan was just a ceasefire. You know when that ceasefire was? It must have been 65 years ago, something. It was 65 years ago. 1953. That war still exists. Big time America ran over there with a World War II mentality and got blocked off. They sent their baddest general, Douglas MacArthur. And he made some moves that seemed brilliant at the time in China, an invasion of the Korean Peninsula. And he drove the North Koreans, you know, Kim Il-sung, daddy, granddaddy, all the way up to the Yalu River. And then here come the Chinese across the river, 250,000, maybe 1 million. Right on Thanksgiving, 1951, they ran the United States government all the way from the Yalu River right back down to Seoul. They wasn't marching, they was running. And they didn't stop till they got to the sea. You know what I'm saying? Vietnam slowed those little guys, you know, doing the Paris thing. And when the Vietnamese was doing their discussion with the United States, I happened to be in Paris, so I went to visit the Vietnamese embassy. Now, you know, the United States don't like that, so they stay on your behind. What does a nigga go and visit? So whatever I went to talk to them about, it was my business. But you know what? The thing that I remember best about the Vietnamese, I'd been seeing them on TV, but when I walked in the embassy, wasn't nobody no taller than this. Right? I say, y'all been whooping Sam like that? You know, that's serious business. That's the thing I remember in 1973. No, excuse me, 1971. So, about Allah saying, leave me alone about the people that don't believe in this divine writ. Don't worry about them. I'm going to bring them down slowly, continuously, so that when they look up, they're going to be at the bottom, and they're not going to even perceive, hey man, we at the bottom. Do you know the U.S. educational system? Where is it at? It used to be at the top in the world. What about our schools now? They're down at the bottom. The U.S. economy used to be the world's savior. Everybody else on the road. The U.S. run and jumped on the people in Afghanistan. You know, in Afghanistan, I've been to Afghanistan. Afghanistan, half of the people then were still riding camels and horses. Yes, they was. It was back in the 80s and the 90s. They were still, and you know what they did to Sam? They ran him crazy. He's still over there now going crazy. Getting the snot whooped out of him. That's what's happening to Sam. And he went into Iraq, 2003. Remember? He was bad. Headed over there. He was bad for about 2 weeks. Then the people said, we don't want you here. And they rose up. And Sam lost another one. Do you know, what about a champion who lost his last 5 or 6 fights? To a guy, everybody he fighting, he's a heavyweight, and they lightweights, all of them. Lightweights, 125 pounds, 110 pounds, baby weight fighters. And sometimes they don't knock out the champion. They just hit him all upside the head. He got knots, his lips be puffed up, his ears be cauliflower. Right? That's how them little guys whoop you. They don't knock you out. You ever notice in heavyweight fights, a heavyweight fight hit each other once or twice and they out. Them lightweights, man, they be beating each other. I said, man, right? They be throwing combinations and they don't knock each other out. That's the way they do Sam. Brr, brr. Everywhere he is right now. In the corner of Syria, got his eyes puffed up. In Iraq, got his eyes puffed up. Afghanistan, his lips is all puffed all up. Got cauliflower ears from messing with the people of Iraq and then threatening Iran. And Iran said, man, well, we've been all the time in Iraq helping the brothers. You know who we've been studying? You. You know we've been in Afghanistan too. You know who we've been helping? You. You know we're in Syria, right? You know we got ourselves and we got Hezbollah. You know Hezbollah whoops the Israelis and anybody they get their hands on, right? And you think the people of Iran are afraid of America? It ain't like that. So, boss man, and they got the Quran too, says, for behold, though I may give them rain for a while, my subtle scheme is exceedingly firm. That's Allah saying that this is going down. They going down. The term subtle scheme, kayyid, eventually subscribe. Here's God's infallible plan of creation, in which man can glimpse only isolated fragments and never the totality. A plan in which everything and happening has a definite function and nothing is accidental. Because sometimes you and I say, I've heard many Christians say, it's a big preacher that he's almost losing his, in fact, he has lost his big church and he's in bad shape. I forget his name. They even got a movie out about it, but I heard it on the radio. He was down there with Oral Roberts and everything. He was big. And he said, God, why you let the people of Rwanda go through this? God, why you let hell ain't no place you go. Hell is on earth. So he changed it. Now, you know, in fundamentalist Christianity, if you start talking about it, ain't no hell. He got the same belief, Jesus is salvation, love, all that. But he's not hung up on hell as much. He said hell is created by man. And why you let man do all of that? We don't ask Allah no silly question like that. You know why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the human being his Khalifa, his steward on the planet. He gave the human being guidance. He gave the human being the knowledge. Because remember when it says, the angel is saying, you're going to give mankind, you're going to give this guy some ability to make mischief and bloodshed in the land? See, because before everything followed its natural creation. All the animals, right, followed their fitra, their nature, right? So now this guy is going to have the ability to make up his own mind, and you're going to give him nafs, and he can follow his nafs, and you're going to give him aql. Allah says, I know what you know. I know all of that, but I know what you know not. That I'm going to improve this creation. I'm going to let this man just act a bigger fool as he wants. And then he's going to revert to my guidance. But any problem that's on the earth, it's going to be caused by him, not by me. He don't have to slaughter and murder and pillage. I'm not making him do that. I'm giving him the ability to do that. But I'm giving the other people the ability to check him. That's why the Quran said if the good people don't check the bad people, there would be much mischief and destruction in the land. So the human being has all of this great ability to make moves, but sometimes he just don't move. So it ain't God that said, well, I'm just going to make your life miserable. If your life is miserable, now that was a time when we could say that 98% of our misery was caused by the white man. It was true. Now it's down to about 95, but in those days, just think about it. Think about 60 or 70 years ago. Your race, your color determined where you lived determine the food you eat, who is you going to marry, where you live, what school you go to, where you was going to work. It determined all of that. Your race, I mean, 95% of what you was about was determined by race. Right? Your color. So we could almost say, well, it was the white man's fault. But now we got the Hidayah. We know that whatever another man put in place, another man can check it. But whether we let thee see in thy lifetime, O prophet, the fulfillment of some of what we have promised him, or whether we cause thee to die before its fulfillment, thy duty is no more than to deliver the message, and the reckoning is ours. Sometimes when you want to deliver the truth in a lying world, you're going to almost be standing out there by yourself. You have to be able to stand a lot of ridicule, because if you're coming with the truth in the world of lies, right, you're going to have the whole world coming out against you. I like the newspaper today because it, not that it just verifies our style. Now, remember, what did we say our style of fighting the system was? Muhammad Ali and Jack Johnson. Y'all remember that? Nobody remembers that. Muhammad Ali and Jack Johnson. What was on the front page this morning? Look at the front. Well, I can show you this one. There's old Sylvester Stallone, Lennox Lewis. What do? They give a 100-year-old party. It wasn't 100 years, but for Jack Johnson. You know, we talk about Jack Johnson all the time. Boy, Jack Johnson, if you think we bad talking about the white man, this and that, but Jack Johnson, when he won the championship in 1910, he might have won it in 1908. In 1910, he fought Jim Jeffries for the championship in Reno, Nevada. It was all kind of snipers around the ring with rifles, laying to kill him. He jumped up in the ring and fought like that. Of course, me and you might not have did it. I know I wouldn't. And then, you know, I'm from Oakland. He had a couple of white women. One of them in Oakland was named Madam Sweetmeat. He messed with white women in the early 1900s. When he won the championship, I told y'all this last week, they went down to one of the brothers went down to order something to eat. He said, I want some coffee black as Jack Johnson and my eggs beat up like Jim Jeffries. Have you ever heard the term white hope? White hope, that's where it came from. White people were so mad they went in search for somebody that could beat this man. So it's called the Great White Hope. And he beat the man so bad, but he didn't knock him out. So maybe he knocked him out later, but he just carried him around, would hit him and whoop him, puff his eyes up, and what have you. Now today, I didn't read the article, I just saw it. They gave him a pardon. Now they had a law called the Mann Act that they used on him, which was illegal. Now, by the way, Jack Johnson didn't die till 1946. You know how he died? He was driving one of Lincoln Zephyrs, you know, with the spare tire on the back, 1946 Lincoln. This is bad boy. And he crossed the white line and ran into something. So the white folks was happy. You know what they said? That's the last time he'll cross the white line. I was talking about that to say about us. And Allah is saying to the Prophet, whether we let thee see in thy lifetime, O Prophet, the fulfillment of some of what we have promised them, or whether we cause thee to die before its fulfillment, Thy duty is no more than to deliver the message, and the reckoning is with us. If you have a message, if you have a message of truth, you deliver it. You might be like an artist, Van Gogh or somebody. He died poor, or wino, and everything else, right? Now his art is worth trillions of dollars, millions, right? So a lot of people don't get fame until after they die. A lot of people die, they die penniless, they die unknown. And then you walk in an art studio now and they say, this is the greatest art ever created. That's what white folks say. And the guy died broke. The same thing with prophets, messengers, and people who imitate them, who want to do good work like them. Your job is to preach the message. It's Allah's responsibility. That's why he's al-Hasib. He's the accountant, not you. Have then they who deny the truth never see how we visit the earth with our punishment, gradually depriving it of its best thereon. This is called slow wastage, or don't you see how we reduce the ruling authority of the Quraysh smaller and smaller until now they are surrounded there in Mecca by themselves when they used to be the leaders of all Arabia. Don't you see how the British Empire, the sun never set on the British Empire? That's only 75 years ago. That's only 75 years ago. The sun never set on the British Empire. That means, you know, the sun revolves around the earth. Somewhere in the world, the sun was shining on the British Empire. That's how great it was. And now they never see the sun there in London anymore. It's fog. We always say it's foggy. It's fogged up now. Too bad. That's a process of slow wastage. La yagurunaka takallubu alladhina kafaru fil biladi. Let not their strutting about of the unbelievers through the land deceive you. Do not let Donald Trump strutting about, talking bad on TV, and carrying on like a fool. Don't let that deceive you. Don't let that make you think that's permanent. That's actually a sign of his soon to disappear. Him and his whole rotten civilization. Not the people, but the authority of that civilization. Let not the strutting about of the unbelievers through the land deceive you. There's another I'd like to read. Oh, you believe, persevere in patience and constancy. Vie with such perseverance, strengthen each other, and fear Allah, that you may prosper. None can dispute about the signs of Allah, but the unbelievers, they're the only ones going to talk crazy about it. Let not then their strutting about through the land deceive you. Same non-believers, don't let them run around talking crazy and making you think they're permanent. Yet, however strongly thou mayest desire it, most people will not believe in this revelation. Although thou dost not ask of them any reward for it, it is but Allah's reminder unto all mankind. Last night, just before Taraweeh, we was talking about some of the big preachers and the hustlers, you know, about prayer handkerchiefs, about, prayer envelopes and you send $20. I was talking about the great prophet down in New Orleans, down in Louisiana, that had a money hand. This money hand, you send $20, it'll help you smell money. It'll help you find money. It'll be reaching all and everything for you. This is a money hand. And do you know what? All of them is rich. And the poor preacher preaching the Bible down on L Street or R Street or 18th Street, wherever he is, with a church this big, telling the truth, there's 10 people in there, right? Why do everybody go for bull doodle all the time? Right? The bigger the lie, the National Negro come out, A-tone, we're going 22 billion men march, all that stuff. They come out and the people come to hear that jive. A-tone. We want you to atone, A-tone, the sound. And they've got them big garbage bags full of money. All the Muslims helped, right, to put on the show. And he run off with all the money back to Chicago. No Negro got a dime. That helped put on a program, all the they didn't get a single smidgen. He got so much money, now you can't get no money on down there no more. They don't let you, they say you can't raise no money on the mall. Because they was looking at the police counting all the bags. Look at that garbage bag. That's 55-gallon bag, and it's full of money. And in my sector that I can see, I see 70 full bags of money. Then those other guys got talking on the phone. I see 82 bags over here full of money. And the guy way down there, they come all the way almost back to the city. And nobody got no money but him. Now they wondering why they don't like it. Why? Because liars and bull crappers get all the money, all the time. And the truth is hard to sell. The truth is right as difficult to sell because the truth puts some responsibility on you. But if you follow me, I'm going to get you into heaven. It ain't going to cost you. You can sin all you want. In fact, you can sin from Friday night all the way to Thursday evening, and I'll pray and have them all. Every week you come in and give me a little bit of money, and I'm going to resolve all your sins because I have a special contact with the great forgiver, and you will die rich. Like Reverend Ike them. You know, that's what we was talking about last night. Why is it that these guys that tell all them lies, everybody like it? The Quran says that too. They misled the people with sweet talk, right? Beautiful converse. It's a historical process. A politician, all of them. Okay. But then, how many signs is there in the heavens and on earth which they pass by unthinkingly, and on which they turn their backs? There's signs everywhere. There's signs all around us about the society, where it's going. Ain't nobody paying no attention. We're going to speed up. Say, O prophet, this is my way, resting upon conscious insight, accessible to reason. I am calling you all unto Allah, and they who follow me, and say, limitless is Allah in his glory, and I am not one of those who ascribe divinity to aught but him. He's saying, Allah is saying, say, O prophet, this is my way, resting on conscious insight. Accessible, it's not hidden and secret. You know, the big knowledge, the people that need the money, this is secret knowledge that I got. It's not Islam. This is accessible to everybody. Then, they who reject faith or who reject this divine writ never journeyed about the earth and beheld what happened to the end of those deniers of truth who lived before them? And do they not know that to those who are conscious of Allah, the life in the hereafter is indeed better than this, or better than this world? Will they not then use their reason? Won't they use their sense? And after all, earlier apostles had to suffer persecution for a long time. But at last, when those apostles had lost all hope and saw themselves branded as liars, our succor attained to them, whereupon everyone who we will be he saved was saved, and the deniers of the truth were destroyed. For never can the punishment be averted for people who are lost in sin. Indeed, in the stories of these men, there is a lesson for those endowed with insight. So this is, have they not traveled through the earth and seen what was the end of, I have went over a beautiful, several articles. Some are declines of civilization, declines of empire, 10 signs of decline. Just go on the internet. And it's like reading a medical journal. The signs of cancer, 10 signs of cancer. Right? This is like 6 little quick word statements about development of a society. Now, you know, every society or everything alive will go through the same thing. They're born, they develop, they decay, and then they die. This is a general thing. Now, this is about a society, a great one like the United States that it was talking about. The first stage is the pioneer stage. The Americans come over here, they clear the land, they kill about as many people as they can get, and then they develop their system. That's the pioneer system. When we were kids, we watched westerns. Everybody covered crossing the plains and covered wagons and shooting Indians. Wagons getting in a circle and all of that and killing the Indians. That's the pioneer stage. They called them pioneers. By the way, we call ourselves As-Sabiqun, pioneers, the vanguard, the people who go out front, trailblazers, people who find the way. That's what we call ourselves. It's okay. Pioneer. Then next comes the conquest. Those societies now, they conquer peoples. Like here in America, they conquered everything. They developed an idea back in 1830s, around 1839, called manifest destiny. Read it in history. Manifest destiny, that they had a picture of America. And remember, they're still on the East Coast here mostly now. That America should be a two-ocean power. In 1803, they had already bought up the Louisiana Purchase, which took them all up through the mid, up to way over to Oregon. Actually to the Pacific coast, to the Columbia River. That's technically in Oregon, Portland. And they said America should be a two-ocean power. Within a few years, they had the Alamo, where they stole Texas. You know how big Texas is. That was 1836. By 1845, Texas was a state. In between time, they called it a republic, ran by a drunkard called Sam Houston. 4 years after that, they discovered gold in California. In the meantime, 1847 and 48, they have the Mexican War. Do you know that the United States stole half of Mexico? Do you know all of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Nevada, Colorado? Do you know all those? That is 25% of continental, not all of America. They stole. 10 years later, they gave them $15 million for all of that. Because they had a vision, manifest destiny. That was a conquest faith. Everywhere they went down to the Virgin Islands in the Spanish-American War. Yeah, they blew up the Maine, remember the Maine, 1898? And then they invaded Cuba. They took the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, all of that. And then they just happened to have the 6th Fleet over in the Philippine colonies, way over there. And they stole the Philippines. Because the Philippines, when I was a kid, was called the Philippine colonies. The Philippines was a colony of America. All right. That's conquest. That's step 2. Commerce. Do you know the big business jumped off worldwide here in America? You ever heard of Standard Oil, Rockefeller? You ever heard of Carnegie Steel, U.S. Steel, and all of that? Right? You ever heard of the Gettys? All the bankers, they used to call them robber barons. Them people, 4 or 5 people got so rich it was unbelievable. All from America. That was a commerce. And when we all grew up, commerce spread all over the world from America. They controlled the commerce. Then the 4th stage is, you know, when I was growing up, you know what they called the 50s? They had the roaring 20s, and they called the golden 50s. You know why? Everybody had a job. Good God Almighty, we come from down south and go to California anywhere and get a job. I was telling the brothers I had a job at a factory and I made $3 an hour. And double time on Sundays and time and a half on overtime, and you get all overtime, you get overtime every day. Now, you sound like $3 an hour, ain't nothing. Tell the truth. $3 an hour. The only thing is, in Mississippi, you made $2 a day. That's the only difference in $3 an hour and $2 a day. That's the difference between California and Mississippi. Why you think the South emptied out of Negroes? They call it the Great Migration. Man, when we left the South, people before us, and they came back driving new cars. Do you know you didn't have no new car down south? And they talk about Negroes left the South. Imagine you walking down a row of cotton, pulling the sack, and you see them long rows, because them rows was long, straight rows of cotton. Yes, they was. And you're a young man, and you begin to think about your life. And you say, and you look at the old people, you look at yourself. You take that cotton sack off and leave. And don't nobody hear. A lot of us didn't hear from each other. When I was interviewing my father, you know, on tape in 1984, he said, yeah, one of the so-and-so left Arkansas. And next we heard of him, he left in 1934 or so. He said, no, he said they left sometime. He said, we got a postcard for him from Seattle, Washington. And he told the date, it was April something other, 1934. I said, Daddy, this is 1984, and you remember it exactly? That's what he did then. I said, good God. But that means the Negro, you ever hear the old songs? They was wanting to leave, And they got out of the South because it was, well, it was downright miserable. Best thing I can say. It was pretty miserable. And the West was nice. You ever heard the record y'all in here? Bright Lights, Big City, Went to My Baby's Head. Down the country was, that's just, you know how mean Negroes are. You know, Negroes really, you talking about women bad. All the music was love, but so we really liked each other. I wish people was like that now. But them old alcoholic singers, think about it. I would rather drink muddy water and sleep in a hollow log. Isn't that right? That's beautiful. Shoot, Howlin' Wolf said, and he sounded like it too, I asked for water, and she brought me gasoline. And pouring water on a drowning man. Now, that's not a nice picture of black women. Tell the truth. That's not a nice picture of black women. But that's because them Negroes was mess-ups. They was drunkards, they was gamblers, all of the mess-ups. They'd stay up in them old boogie joints playing pianos and guitars and drinking, and they come home, they get paid, and then they go out and black men used to waste all the money. That's why everybody, we'd be waiting on the suckers Friday night, yes we would, because they get paid, the gamblers, everybody, because they go out and party. Then they come home Saturday with no money and wonder why the wife and children are sitting there mad at them. Anyway, you study the pattern of systems. Commerce, affluence. America went through a serious period of affluence. That was a short time, a few years ago, where 6% of the people living on about 6% of the land consumed half of the resources of the world. That was the United States up until a few years ago. Intellect, intellectual bodies all over the world. The American school in Cairo, the police headquarters. The American University in Lebanon. The sixth stage is decadence. Decay, they start going down. Something happens too with America used to be moving toward a middle-class society. It really was a middle-class society. The stability of America was a great middle class. But you know, the middle class is shrinking. That's why they was talking about the 1% and the 99%. It's something, the figures go back and forth, but it's something like 5 or 10% of the people got more wealth, actually it's less than that, than everybody else. Something, isn't that right? A few people. And wages increasing at the top, not at the bottom, not me and you. And if something go wrong, the people at the top cause the problem, right? But they give them a bonus. They take your house and throw you in the street. But if you big, you too big to fail. Isn't that something? That's what they do here. Decadence means that the wealthy people gain so much power they control the government. So they make all the laws. Everything benefits them. So starting in the 80s, you had to have insurance. Well, who's going to give you insurance? The insurance company, of course. So they had made laws that guaranteed the insurance companies money, because you got to have insurance to drive a car, right? You ain't going to make no money, but the insurance company is. So all the laws that they make now are made by those rich people. Decadence, all the collections, the military-industrial complex, have become so powerful it controls the CIA, it controls the security services of America. So what do? The CIA calls wars overseas because the U.S. can send weapons to those wars. And they make trillions of dollars, right? And the political system. We'll move water close. You cannot vote in a good political system. You can't vote in a good president. You don't have the money. And he couldn't do nothing by himself. You can't vote in a good Congress. The system will not allow it. That's what happens during the time of a decline. The system has become habitual. And one of the greatest things of something in decline is denial. Like all of us have relatives who's dope fiends, right? What do? For a long time, till they hit rock bottom, I ain't hooked, man. He lost his house. I ain't hooked, lost his family. I ain't hooked, lost his job. I ain't hooked on dope, man. I can control this. He lost everything. He's in denial, isn't that right? I ain't no dope fiend. Sleeping outside. Cardboard box. Man, I ain't no dope fiend. I can control this. I'm going to get myself together. Denial. That's what your government is doing right now. That's what O'Don, he's a denier of reality. That's why the Quran calls them deniers of truth. Okay, I'm going to read one or two more and call it a day. Now, this was Yusuf's statement to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O my sustainer, thou hast indeed bestowed upon me something of power and has imparted unto me some knowledge of the inner meaning of happenings. Originator of the heavens and the earth, thou art near unto me in this world and the life to come. Let me die as one who has surrendered himself unto thee, and make me one of the righteous. This is from a great personality. Allah gave him some special gifts, calls it the inner working of things, the passing of history. Many people have some gifts like that. They can put the whole package together. Through travel, through study, they just can do it. It's not a lot of them. Some people are Middle East specialists, they can work on that. Some people are Chinese specialists, Koreans. You know, Georgetown, they got a specialist on everybody. Very few people can look at Latin America, Asia, Indonesia, China, Korea, everywhere, Europe, America, and put it all together and figure out with precision where all this is going. That's the kind of gift that Yusuf had. That's why he was always saying, he's like that guy Gretzky, that guy played some kind of that little puck or something. They said he goes where the puck is going to be, not where it is. That's what we do as a movement. You got to think about us. We ain't never static. We tell them this is where it looks like it's headed, folks. They stay there, no, we're going to mill around here. And they mill around there, and the world keeps going. That's their problem. I'm going to close with this, the heart of the transformational coaching process. We study everything, science, engineering, technology, sports psychology. This is not from that, but we study all of that because the rise and fall of individuals is just like a champion has the same. Champion want to be known, having tough fights, start moving up, get in the big time, start buying all them cars, chasing all the ladies. Pretty soon he gets a little lazy, right? Somebody come around and still hungry. That's why they say stay hungry. And they knock him over. That's why if you stay simple in your living, you'll always have a little hunger. If you flood yourself with commercial goods, you spend your mind, waste your mind on commercial goods. The transformational coaching process provides a useful framework to guide performance coaching discussions in ways that often up communications and build trust. It also creates a powerful commitment to mutual learning and partnership for discovering the best next steps. This part of the book discusses the business and human case for coaching, presents the transformational coaching methodology, and illustrates its application to enhance the performance of both individuals and teams. This is a little byline. Our deepest fear is what it says, one of the writers. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that frightens most of us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, intellectual, smart, ingenious, right? Who am I to be talented, fabulous, is what we said ourselves. Actually, who are you not to be? And it closes. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. In other words, making yourself small so other people feel, because that can happen. If you're friends with everybody and you start moving away, you feel uncomfortable. They feel uncomfortable around you. And you feel uncomfortable, you trying to be friends like we was all hanging out. And all of a sudden, you're living the dream that you all was talking about a year ago. Cadillacs, running the street, all of this. And you're now living it and they're still on a job. They're looking at you different. You can shrink and get back to make them comfortable. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. In other words, if we don't take charge of our life, guess who's going to control your life? The same people who do. You let Donald Trump control your life. You let Congress, a bunch of flirters and womanizers, whoremongers, and punks and sissies run your life. The sissies have more power in the U.S. than you do. They have more power and they're 10% of the population as you. But they gonna put 3 bathrooms or 4 bathrooms in a place so that half girl can go to this one, half boy can go to the other one. Instead of just saying, choose whatever you want to go in, just go in the bathroom. No, nobody cares. Just don't bother nobody. Why build a whole other bathroom? I want a bathroom for me. They ain't got no nigger bathroom. Right? They ain't got no soap come out you put in your hair, got hair relaxer in it. Conk we used to call it. Right? They ain't got no bathroom with bleaching cream where you can go in there and light, you can take your daily lighten up. You don't believe that niggas used to do that, do you? You don't really believe it, that bleaching cream. We were so ashamed to be black, or then they modernized it about 40 years ago, called it ultra skin tone cream. Those of you from Africa looking in the magazine, the biggest selling thing in there is bleaching cream. I used to read Drum all the time when I was in East. Lighten and brighten your day. Coming from Kenya. I said, lightning bright. I said, the people over here is trying to get light too. And they darker than we are. I said, they got a long way to go. Okay, dear believers. The phenomena of change, evolution and revolution is on us. We're watching right now to see it in front of our face. The closing part of this is your great United States has lost its luster. Today, the British, French, the Germans, the Russians and the Chinese are meeting in Vienna. They're all working out what their next step will be with the United States and its Iran policy. It don't make no difference what they do. It's in the favor of Iran because the whole world now is looking at Iran as the great peacemaker. And Iran is getting power quickly while America is losing it. The old dummy fell for the Korean, North Korea. Anybody who's been around, you know North Korea always play games, right? So the North Koreans, fat and old dumb, they studied it. They said, this boy is a fool. We can trick him easy. They did. It was no work at all. They said, oh, Don, you done scared us to death. Now, 2 weeks before, they said, you ain't nothing but an old dummy. You are a fool. And then the Iranian president called him a rogue newcomer. You know, so they was talking about it. And nobody scared of Korea, scared of America. I don't believe so. So anyway, so now all those slant-eyed people are together. I don't care what you think. Chinese, North Koreans, South Koreans make it quick. They get together, they said, let's have a little fun at the doggone Olympics. Fine. They start peace talks and man, we home folks. So they promise them, man, we ain't gonna do nothing to you. You don't do nothing, we the same people. They tell them, man, we ain't gonna shoot all of y'all. We got all this stuff right here. Seoul, Korea, 3-4 million people, we ain't gonna blow y'all up. We all Koreans. What we got to do is get rid of the, homeboy here. This boy is messing up everything, right? We got to get rid of him. Who wants to get rid of him? Everybody. The Chinese don't want him over there in their business. China and Korea, they're all close together. The North Koreans don't want him. The South Koreans don't want him no more. South Korea is rich. You driving KIAs over here, ain't you? Korea, they made it Korea. You eating kimchi, you go to the store, they got kimchi, right? Everybody is on the way up. They don't want him around no more. It was funny. So they said, everybody knew it. Well, Don, let's have some peace talks. You done scared us so bad. We want to just lay down and we want to roll over and let you just have your way. Yeah, I told y'all I was smart. Yeah, I got it. Then they got the fool so funny the other week. No bell, no bell. What did he say? Y'all see him on TV? Yeah, they're talking about giving me the peace prize. Of course, 20 minutes later, the Koreans start acting funny. Then they tricked him into having the vice president say something stupid about Gaddafi and his program. So then now, they just making fun of the Americans, and Don had stuck his foot in. Oh, me and Kim, we go, whichever one he is, we're gonna have plenty of fun. We're gonna get together in a couple of days. Now you take, when you're gonna have a meeting like that, you take 6 months, a year, or 2 years to prepare. You don't do it in a month. This is May. We're gonna get together, right? We're gonna get together in June. This is impossible. It's never happened in history. Then they let a few people go. Oh, yeah, Don said, yes, I'm Big Don. Boy, I tell you, I told y'all I knew what I was talking about. Then they started making fun of him. Don changed his tune 2 or 3 times. And I canceled this because he got to cancel it because they made a fool out of it. And everybody's saying the Koreans have made a fool out of Donald Trump. They played on his ego. They made him feel big and important. Then they popped a balloon on him. That's exactly what they did in front of everybody. Then this morning, they said, oh, Don, after Don said we ain't going to meet together, they said we'd love to meet with the Americans. It don't make no difference. Anybody that's negotiated or watched the negotiation of North Koreans or even Russians way back, or Iranians, they know how to negotiate. What about you and I? The world is changing. The last thing we read. It's not our inadequacies that we fear, it's our greatness. The only thing I ask is that they stole our nigger rebellion. They stole it and put all them coons that you see now right in front. Every one of them is a coon. And 50 years after Martin Luther King, have nothing happened. Why? You ever ask yourself that? Because they engineered everything. They killed all the good ones, and they brought in what Malcolm called hand-picked Negroes. That means most of our people are hand-picked by the system. I don't care how much you like them. I don't care if you look, man, that move from New York, he talk trash, they still a hand-picked coon. It's just our opinion. Okay, now, 50 years, they stole the black rebellion. Then they came and diverted the Islamic movement. They diverted our wonderful Islamic movement from someone who desired change and a better world to becoming second-class citizen for the immigrant community. I know I say this every week, but the immigrant community come here and they want to join America, right? You and I accepted Islam to become better people and to change America. It was rotten and dirty. They did it right in front of everybody, and now here's everybody. The Negro writing articles about how sad he is because they were diverted from their mission. They ain't diverted us. They never have, and hopefully Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't allow them because we're sticking with Allah's book. Now that means you and I, it's not our inadequacies that we fear, it's our good points and our high point. The Negro is full of excellences for America. We're the only people probably that could revive the whole system for good and transform this ignorance into an order that makes sense. That's our job. That's our job. Only thing I'm saying, let's reach out and do our job. Don't be scared of being big. Don't be afraid of being important. That's not arrogance. In order to fix the world, you got to be big. You got to be important. You got to use your brain. And for any of you who work for the government, that's a good job. But the only thing, the difference between an entrepreneur and a people that work for themselves, if you're a government employee, you work there 30 years, you get 1 year's experience 30 times. 1 year experience 30 times over. But if you're out there on your own, you get 30 years of juice and experience. You become sharp. It's the same thing as raising an animal in the zoo or one out in the woods. Which one is the smartest? The animal in the zoo? No, all animals in the zoo is just wait. He hears some keys jangling, he run up to the door to get something to eat. If you let him out, do you know? I'm not saying the system is a zoo, but it raises psychoplegic people. You know, like paraplegic, can't walk, can't do nothing. Psychoplegic, their mind don't work. That's what the system raises, I'm telling you. You gotta get out of the system to find out. Otherwise, you'll just be sleepwalking. And it's not you and I, it's history. Pharaoh brainwashed the people, divided them up in groups, and misled them to be that, why y'all here? He said, because the people in front of us told us this stuff. You think you're gonna learn? You know, my daughter, they go to the big schools up there. I said, when you was a kid, you was really brilliant. They smart for school. I said, but the longer you stay in school, the dumber you're getting. The dumber you're getting. That's true. This is my kids, everybody else's kids. The longer you stay in school, the dumber you're getting, because the people in school is school teachers. They went to school and learned dumb stuff from dumb people. And when you get a business degree, can you go out of the school and become a millionaire? No, you study business. You have all those reasons why you can't be a millionaire. Well, you know how to fail. It's on you and I. Allah put us here for this reason. Let's go on and step on up. Don't worry about what you don't know. If you get busy, you're going to learn everything you need to know on the way, or you're going to get steamrolled. And one thing a nigga got enough sense to know is he hear all the rumbling, he sees this. That's a steamroller. I better figure out something. See, it's going to take, he can count. It's going to take 2 minutes for that steamroller to get here. I better think of something. If life is like that, you're going to be sharp because you're avoiding that steamroller. So you're getting smarter. Every time they roll a steamroller out, you get smarter. Every time they attack you, you get smarter. And if you get killed one at a time after the 10th and 12th round, you go to heaven. Can't lose. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful, keep from us what is prohibited, with thy grace make us free from want of what is misled. Ameen.